was having a conversation with my sister the other day. We were talking about my nephew, her son, who is very young. I'll keep the age private, and how he's right now having to navigate some environmental changes, basically. And she was saying it with concern because it could be challenging for a child to have to go through changes, like whether it's moving schools, cities, changing their environment. And while I do believe that it is important for a child to feel safety in their environment and have a sense of security, I do believe that it's so important for a child to also be comfortable with change. In fact, my very words to my sister were, the sooner that you can get him comfortable with change, the better. This isn't to say that there won't be stability in life. It is to say that the person who is most resilient and can oftentimes go further in life is the person who is psychologically flexible, is comfortable with change. I mean, think about it. Everything in life is change. Everything, your identity changes, your beliefs change, your values change, love changes, health changes, body changes, the fucking stock market changes, like the economy changes, seasons change. I mean, relationships change. It's just constant change. And this makes it crucial to be able to embrace change, to be able to move with change and not lose our center, not lose ourself. I know a lot of people who have a really hard time with change. And look, I get it. It's comfortable to be comfortable, right? And your nervous system, likes to feel comfortable. However, it's so crucial for us to not just be in this constant state of, this is comfortable, this is familiar, so this is easy, because that's a fast track to not growing, to staying small in life, to becoming actually a person who's not very resilient. The resilience is a person who knows how to bounce back, right? It's the bounce back after a challenge. And a lot of changes in life are going to be very challenging. So if we don't put ourselves in positions to be okay with that discomfort so that we can move through the change, we're always going to resist change. And therefore, we are going to stay small. We're not going to evolve in very important and meaningful ways in our life. So the sooner that you can become more accepting and more you can embrace change more, the fucking better. Charles Darwin said it best. It's not the strongest or the smartest who survive. It's those who adapt to change. And I think it's so fucking true. I think it's very true on an emotional level too. I know a lot of people or I've met people in my life, I should say, that don't have they're not the most talented person you've ever met, but they have kicked ass in life because they're really comfortable with change. And in fact, a lot of the change is them putting themselves in situations where there's a lot of uncertainty. So they're the ones that take the risks, that, move through uncertainty, that say yes before they have proof. Whereas there's so many talented people that don't actually go as far, or haven't gone as far, because they have a harder time with uncertainty, with putting themselves in positions where they're going to have to change. So change is a very, very important experience for us all. And in some ways, some people could be more comfortable with certain changes than others. And it's going to be dependent on several things. But first and foremost, I think it's this mindset of, I am here to move through an evolution right? My life is an evolution. It's evolving, and evolution in of itself is constant change. People think that they fear change, but the word change is really just this sort of blanket word for identity death, social rejection, lack of competence, uncertainty, loss of control, right? These are really the underlying fears that change is holding. It could be several, or it could be even just one of those that is enough for a person to want to resist change. But there's no way around this reality. Every new chapter in your life, every new season in your life is going to ask you to change. And a lot of times it's going to ask you to change before your nervous system is familiar with that future version of you, that new expression of you, this new change in your life. You have to make the change and then bring your nervous system, calibrate your nervous system to get comfortable with this change. It's funny because success is actually something that people can ward off too, because it's unfamiliar, because it brings uncertainty. It could mean certain relationships go away. It's parts of their identity that they're not familiar with. I mean, I remember in my own life years and years ago, I came to this realization of certain when certain parts of my career life became uh what's the word for it? There was just a lot more success that was starting to unfold, and things just felt really good. I mean, I still had challenges, of course, they're always there, but my challenges were different challenges, right? And certain challenges that I was having before, I wasn't having anymore. And I remember having like this realization of that change being there, and then going into a very deep part of myself and saying these words over and over again. It's safe. It's safe to feel this secure. It's safe to feel this good. It's safe. And this was me calibrating my nervous system, creating my sort of new normal. It's so interesting because if I wasn't a very self aware person, I may not have captured this. And then this is where I could start to sabotage myself so that I can stay in that same sense of comfort around my nervous system, what my nervous system was used to. My nervous system was used to, in this part of your career, you were always grinding, you were always hustling, you were always, just fucking, you're super scrappy over here all the time. Whereas at that point in my career life, certain things settled to where it's like, well, no, actually, you've smoothed this part out. You're good here. We've got new challenges over here where you're scrappy, where you're, doing all the things, but over here, you're good now. So it's safe. You're okay. And I had to really talk myself through that moment and create this sense of comfort around that change.